Welcome to The Verdict. Tom Feher is an award-winning trial lawyer who knows there is more to our stories than what you see on the surface. He has built his law firm, Feher Law, into one of the top-ranked trial law firms in California and has won over $100 million for his clients. Join us each week as Tom sits down with some incredible people who have found success, are pioneering the future, and who are making a difference in their communities. Tom will explore their triumphs, challenges, and the lessons they've learned along the way. Hit subscribe, follow Feher Law on Facebook and Instagram, and let's get to the verdict. And now, here is your host, Tom Feher.
Welcome to The Verdict. I'm Tom Feher, and I'm excited to bring you another amazing story today. SheRise Ford, known as the Six-Foot Publicist, founded SheRise Enterprise, an entertainment company that specializes in public relations, consulting, music video casting, and event production. An LA native like myself, with experience as an actress, musician, and model. It was one deal that opened the door to her opening a boutique public relations firm. SheRise, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate being a guest on the show. Thank you.
Of course. There's so much to unpack here, and you have such a eclectic and diverse background. What I wanted to do is, before we sort of start into how you started your firm, you have this background in acting and modeling and music. Can you just tell us a little bit about your experience in those areas?
Oh, of course. I started off wanting to be a singer when I was younger. My uncle actually owned a record label, and he also was working with Death Row Records at the time. So I kind of grew up in the music industry. My cousins are entertainers. They started off on the music side of everything. So it was always a love for me of music that made me want to be in the entertainment industry. So out here in California back in the day, almost 20 years ago now. Well, actually, it's over 20 years. I'm aging myself. But when I was in high school, in order to graduate from high school, you had to do what was called a senior project. So for me, this was my opportunity to get into the studio, to get inside, immerse myself in my uncle's life and my cousin's life in the music industry. So for me, I did mine on the entertainment industry. I wrote my first song. I recorded my first song while in high school. And performed my first song in order to graduate from high school. That was what I decided to do. And that led to an internship where I still did some music, singing and stuff on the side, but I was learning the business side of things. And as I was modeling and acting during that same time, but again, my love was music. And at the time, people would use me to sing background vocals for them with the promise that, I'll get you studio time and, we'll work on your stuff. I ended up singing a lot of background vocals for a lot of people, and it never panned out. So I looked at the business side of things and was like, you know what? I like that better. Let me go over there where I can control the money, control what's going on, and make sure that the business is set up the right way so that I can get paid and progress like I really want to.
That's interesting. I grew up listening to the Box music television you control. Yes. So you know about that?
Oh yeah, of course. When you can call in and make your request, and you hoping that somebody's going to call in and make your request because you really want to hear a song, but you really don't want to pay the money so that you can hear it.
Right. And then you would have the top videos too that were playing, and things would be popular when Bone Thugs and Harmony first came out with the Thuggish Ruggish Bone, or Criss Cross's Jump.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's where I got most of my music. It was everything from Paul Abdul to Kiss to rap music, but the Box, that was the big thing when I was a kid, and MTV, of course. So it sounds like, though, with your passion for music, you got a window into the business side of things as well.
Yes, I did. Like I say, for the senior project, shout out to Santa Fe Springs High School, Santa Fe High, because it was because of them I was able to learn the business side of things and learn royalties and learn how the breakdown of how people actually get paid for music. Even now, it's been over 20 something years that I've been in the industry, and I still find people that they make music, but they don't know how to actually get paid from their music. I was fortunate enough to learn that side of the business at a very young age. So that's something that I also bring to my clients, because like I say, a lot of them are independent artists and they're just starting out and they're making all this music, but they have no ownership of their music. They haven't copywritten their music. They don't know how to actually get paid from it. So that's something that I actually educate my clients on.
And that's really interesting stuff, because there's a lot of artists out there that are making amazing things, whether it's in music or in other mediums, and yet they may not know all of the ins and outs of business, which puts them at a disadvantage.
Exactly. It really does. And I feel that it's important for you to know the business before you just jump into something. And like I say, a lot of times they think they have their creative, they have the craft, but they don't, it's called the music business, and they only focus on the music side and not the business side. And then they end up disappointed and heartbroken because they're not making the money that they expected to make inside of this business.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's something that we still see today in all these different arenas. Growing up as a kid, and just even where you're at now, I mean, did you have a mentor or someone or some people that you looked up to and said, gosh, this is someone that inspires me. This is what I want to do or want to be?
You know what? When I was younger, I didn't know, although I knew how to get paid from the industry, I still didn't know that the artists didn't necessarily have to write their own songs. I wrote my own songs, so I just figured everybody wrote their own songs. I didn't know that there were certain, even a publicist, I work in public relations now. At that time, I didn't even realize that a publicist existed, or the public relations and communication side of the business existed. So growing up, the only real mentors that I had was my uncle Lee Ford, because he's the person that I seen inside of the industry that was making things happen. He was with different celebrities, with Tupac and, Snoop Dogg and, all of these big time celebrities that other people just see on TV. He's hanging out with them all the time. So I just wanted to be a part of that life and have my name in lights and, have people screaming and chanting my name and singing my music. And so my biggest mentor, I would say, was him. And then my cousin, who was a part of a group called PG-13 back in the day. And I believe Blair Underwood shot his first video. So it was seeing him. They opened up a complex called the Linwood Swap Meet in the city of Linwood out here. And it was the first big swap meet in the city. So there was like literally thousands of people swarming the stage for my cousin, and they were just screaming. And I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to be a part of that. That's what I want to do. So my family was really instrumental in me wanting to be in the entertainment industry.
That's amazing. And you get to see and be exposed to these celebrities, rock stars, right? And I think in the 90s, rap sort of was the rock, or the rock stars, right? That was like the big thing in terms of music and what was developing. You've got a pretty interesting story about how your firm actually got started. Can you tell us about that?
My firm actually was birthed because, a couple of reasons. So one reason was I was working as a model. And as I was working as a model for a top liquor brand, I seen someone that was going to pay me get paid by someone else. And that didn't sit well with me, because I don't know, it felt funny to me. It was a guy, and I seen him getting paid off of these women, and it kind of it rubbed me the wrong way. And I was like, I don't need anybody to be the middleman. Like, I can do that myself. And not only can I do it for myself, but I can also help other women like me. When I was modeling, now there's all these curvy girls, there's plus size models, and they're everything now, they're publicizing that. At the time when I was modeling, I went to all of the top agencies, Ford, Wilhelmina. They all loved me, but they all presented me with one thing, which was either lose 20 pounds because you are not small enough to be a supermodel, or gain 20 pounds because you're also not big enough to be plus size. So I was in this middle ground where they wanted me to be something I wasn't, and I wasn't about to have that. And I knew that there were other women like me. So once I seen the guy get paid by somebody else, it clicked in my head like, oh, this is the business that I need to start. I need to start helping women that look like me. So I ended up starting my model management company. That was the first leg of my business. I started a model management company where I was helping women that were 6 feet tall and curvaceous like me, that fell into that middle ground, like the Megan Thee Stallions. Like, we all looked like that. We were all tall and curvaceous. And that was actually the name of the company back then, which was Lady Stallion Productions. So that was kind of what birthed my company, as far as starting off with the model management company. And then being at these events, in order for me to get my models work, I also had to market them. I also had to make sure that they were going to events and getting their name out so that they can get other jobs. So that kind of led the way into the PR and the marketing side of things. And I was at an event for Magic Johnson, I believe it was. He used to do this thing called Midsummer Nights. Mm-hmm. And there was, I don't think it was called the SLS Hotel, but it was in Beverly Hills. And I seen a lady, she was a Black lady, and she was running like the whole event. Like, people kept coming up to her and asking her questions, and she had this big smile on her face. I later found out her name was Echo Haddix, and she was the publicist for that event. And at that time, when I seen her, I was like, whatever she does, I want to be a part of it, and I want to do that too. And that's kind of what birthed the whole company itself, encompassing everything with entertainment, which was the casting is what I do now. I do public relations. I do social media management. But that's basically, I would say that Echo Haddix is definitely someone who helped me birth my entertainment company.
And that's remarkable. I mean, trying to break in the industry early on, and then what a lot of models, actresses, actors, they all face is being typecasted one way or another, not fitting a certain mold that is popular at the time, and sort of, rather than succumbing to that or letting that beat you down and saying, oh my gosh, I'm never going to make it, you found an incredible way to get into the industry. And that light bulb just went off. I'm going to go on the business side.
Yes. And then, like I say, too, I also found out that the person that was getting paid, that was going to pay me, is also taking a percentage of that. So I really didn't know how much he was getting paid, so just learning that just kind of got my wheels turning. And like, there's a business side to this, and that was the birth of my company and me going into business for myself.
What were some of the challenges that you faced and had to overcome transitioning into the business side and starting a business in this area?
You know what? I will say one of the biggest challenges was, I hate to say it like this, was haters. When I transitioned from being a model and then going into the business side of things, my ultimate goal was to have a one-stop shop. I wanted the models to be able to come here, get their photography, get their makeup, get their publicity, get their marketing, get everything done in one shop. In order for me to do that, though, I had to reach out to someone, and that person ended up getting jealous because they didn't think of the idea. And they kind of held me down and took my pictures after we shot. They took my pictures and went off and disappeared on me and kind of made me look very bad. So wow. Dealing with people like that inside of the industry was very, very rough. So now I do my best to vet people and make sure that I know who they are. I know what stock they come from, what their reputation is inside of the industry. So I would think that just not knowing the right people to contact and the right people to do business with was definitely a foul on my part, and was definitely a struggle that I had to overcome, how to start vetting people and doing my research and not being so trusting, but just making sure that I do my research and that the person is who they say they are and they're going to do what they say they're going to do. And getting things in writing. I was so trusting coming into this industry because I go off of my word, 10 toes down. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make sure that if I can't do it, I'm going to let you know that I can't do it. I'm not going to leave you hanging. And working in this industry, I found that everybody doesn't stand on merit. Everybody doesn't move like that. So that was a learning curve for me and a big challenge for me to overcome. So now I get everything in writing. And like I say, I make sure to vet everybody that I work with. And I don't work with everybody, even clients that have money and they're coming to me. If I don't like your music and I don't believe in it, I'm not going to work with you. It's very important that I know exactly who I work with and that I like the person that I work with, because that's how I do my best business. So overcoming the challenges of learning that everybody is not always for me. And it's best for me to do my own research rather than depend on somebody else's, observation or what they feel about a situation.
Yeah, I think there's like a really important lesson in all of that is there's a lot of people out there that want to build relationships or want to grow their business. And sometimes not working with someone may be in the best interest of growing your business.
Yes, definitely. Like I say, everybody is not for everyone. And even with my students, I teach them. I know that I give out a lot of free information on social media about how to do PR for yourself and how to build your awareness. But I know that I'm not for everybody. I'm very blunt. I don't like to sugarcoat anything. That's not for everybody. So I even encourage you to make sure that before you hire a publicist, that you make sure that you like that publicist, you know about that publicist. And I give you, if you don't like me, no problem. I have PR friends. I have public people that are in PR that you can contact them. You might like them better. I have no problem with that. But everybody is not for everybody. And even when you're looking to hire a publicist for yourself, you want to make sure that publicist, that you vet that publicist and that they are good for what you're doing. If you're hiring an entertainment publicist and you're selling tools, it's probably not going to work. You might not get the results that you're looking for unless you're looking to put entertainment that, celebrities or something like that, if you're looking to mix that. But otherwise, if you're selling a way out product, it's not going to work. Everything is not for everybody.
It's a really good point. I think the same thing applies with, finding a doctor or finding a lawyer in my case, or, whoever it is. You have to have that rapport with that person, and it kind of goes both ways.
Yes, most definitely.
You've been described by some people that you've worked with as an idea machine. Now, is this something that comes naturally to you, or have you had to work on it? The ability to just come up with ideas constantly?
What I've had to work on is the ability to stop my brain from coming up with ideas. I can hear you talk about your life, and in my head, I'm creating a TV show, I'm creating a movie, I'm creating some type of content for social media. My brain is just always creating, and I love creating. I love giving new ideas to people and making them think differently about, a project that they had, an idea that they had, and making their idea come to life. And that's part of the reason why my clients come to me, is because they have an idea or a thought about something that they want to do. I take it and I flesh it out with them to make that thought turn into fruition so that we can actually produce something real and tangible.
Yeah. And how do you go from having all of these ideas, these visions, and creating something and actually, make it concrete, make it, happen?
I would say that planning is always the best thing. I have a lot of things that I want to do. But the best way for me to go about deciding what's going to work is if I can put a plan to it. If I can figure out if it's a smart situation for me, meaning that it's something strategic that I can actually accomplish. It's time bound where I can put a time on it. I can measure what it is that I'm doing, and I know exactly like what tactics I need to take in order to meet my goal, versus just coming up with an idea, because people have ideas all the time. But if you don't know the steps that you need to take and the resources that you need in order to get to your goal, then it's probably just a lofty idea that you have and not really a goal that you can actually meet. So when I can put a plan into action and I know the people that I can put into place to actually make something happen, then that's one of the ideas that I'll go ahead and I'll jump on. And this is a good idea because I know that I can make it happen. And it's not something that's so far-fetched that it's something that I have to wait later down the line when I get more money or when I meet this person. It's all about what I have in my circle right now, what I have in my toolbox that I can use. And if I have something to make this idea work, then that's the idea that I'm going to go with.
Yeah. Are you the type of person that has to put an idea on paper and write it down and what's going to happen step by step? Or is it you have it in your head and you just go with it?
I like to write. Writing is my thing. I know it's kind of like a dead art right now. A lot of people are just like texting and typing and talking and stuff. But for me, I love the actual physicality of taking a pen and writing on paper. It makes me remember better. And it also just, it kind of gets my juices flowing. And that's part of my creation process, is writing stuff down. I may not have to put, every day I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, but I will break it down into my overall arching goals and then put a date on it and a time stamp, that way I know that this needs to be done by a certain day. And just to make sure that it gets done, putting that time and keeping myself accountable.
Yeah, I definitely can understand and appreciate that. I grew up when computers were just sort of starting, and I was one of the only people in my law school that hand wrote my bar exam, because it just my thoughts come better when I write versus when I type. So I can understand that for sure. I do think there's something to be said about taking an idea and seeing it and putting it on paper that helps you go through the process and, okay, I'm getting this done, and it helps build momentum.
It does. And it also helps you stay consistent, because you can fall off with just thinking that you're not really accomplishing that much. You know what I mean? But if you put a date onto everything, then each step that you're accomplishing is going to motivate you to the next step. So writing those timelines down and writing your tasks down and keeping those timelines and keeping yourself accountable will help you in the end reach your actual goal. So I totally agree with you on that. Writing it down is something that definitely helps me.
What's it like, since you're in the entertainment industry, what's it like working with celebrities? Are they, normal people like everybody else, or is there something unique about them?
You know what? I'm going to say that they're normal like everybody else. I would curse and say that they use the bathroom. I'm just going to say they use the bathroom just like us. They put on their clothes one leg at a time. They might be designer clothes, but they still put them on the same way. And at the end of the day, it's funny to me, because I know a lot of celebrities personally. So when I see people like, on TV, and people get all excited, like, oh my goodness, this person. And I'm like, that person is really just like you. Like, I go to the grocery store and I literally see that person picking out the same fruit as me. Or I know that even though they're on TV, they're still struggling looking for their next job, or they're on someone's couch. So I know the ins and outs kind of like of more of the real entertainment industry and how people are really living versus the glitz and the glamour that other people see. So for me, they're regular people. And to anyone else, they should be regular people too. They should be people maybe that you look up to and aspire to be like. But other than that, I mean, they're regular people just like you and I.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think it is about you, specifically, that makes it that you're good at your job, that you've had all this success and you've worked with so many wonderful people and helped them out?
I believe that my success is due to my inability to be quiet. I have this, I have this skill.
You can ask my wife.
I have this skill that I like to call it, of not being able to be quiet. If it's quiet in a room, I get nervous. So I'm going to go talk to someone. Let's get this party started. I will go in the middle of the dance floor and get the party going. But I think that kind of lets people's guard down, because I am so tall. I'm 6 feet tall. So it's a little intimidating to some people. So I have to, put that smile on my face and let hey, I'm not, come to me. It's okay. I'm not threatening. You know what I mean? It's all right. So that it actually makes people gravitate to me. They want to know how tall I am, and you know what I mean? And what do I do? And a lot of people think that I'm the client, and my client's the publicist, and all of this stuff to me gets conversation going and helps me network, helps me build my brand, helps me with my clients, helps us get a foot inside the door. I mean, if you see the 6 foot tall woman and on top of that, I wear 4 or 5 inch heels most of the time. So you can see me coming, and they want to know who that person is. And I feel that that's been a blessing for me. My height's been a blessing. That's why I now embrace my height and call myself the 6 foot publicist. When I was younger, I used to shy away from it. I used to want to be short. I used to hate being the tallest person. People made fun of me. But now that the very thing that people made fun of me for when I was younger is the thing that everybody loves about me, the thing that gets me through the door, the things that helps me build my client base. I feel like it's my height and my personality that's been able to make me soar in my business.
Is it pretty amazing resiliency just talking to you and listening to your stories right now from early on in your career, going from modeling to business. And then now, what some people are like in your situation felt insecure about your height and now embracing it and using that, it's actually an asset. It's a tool. And so, there are people, myself included, where there's things we're insecure about, and rather than, shying away from it, own it. And all of a sudden it can become a superpower.
Yes, it totally is. It totally is. And that's one of the things that's important to my heart is teaching young kids that, because I grew up very sad. And like I said, I was the tallest one. I was like the only Black kid in the city, damn near, and at my school. So it was a struggle for me to love myself because people made so much fun of me. And of course I got it at home, and my family told me that at home, but to hear the other people outside of my home talking bad about me, that's what really hurt. So I want to be kind of that voice for these younger people to know that you're beautiful the way you are, and to tell my story too, because like I said, they made fun of me because of my height. They made fun of me because of my big lips, my big butt. These are all the things that people are now trying to go get surgery to come look like me. And I was naturally this way. And I went through all of the pain and the crying to now learn how to re-love myself. It's so crazy to me. So if I can be a voice for these young kids now, just anybody younger than me, or just anybody in general that needs to hear that information, that you're beautiful the way you are. And there's people somewhere that is trying to look just like you. There's people that are trying to you are a goal for somebody. And people don't think about that. And unfortunately for me, it took me until I was in my 30s, damn near, for me to figure that out. So I don't want other people to have to take that long to realize that you're beautiful the way you are.
That's powerful. What are you doing to teach younger people and kids, just to embrace these things and to realize there's going to be people that are going to, talk bad about you. And at the same time, you have to be able to find ways to deal with that and value all of these beautiful gifts and things that you already have.
Yes. No, you know what, for me, I believe that it's not enough to just talk about what you want to do. You need to figure out outlets and ways to make it happen. So one of the things that I did was I actually got involved in my community, and I became a local government official in my area. So I'm the president of what's called the neighborhood council in my area. And one of the biggest things that I did when I first joined the board, the council about 6 years ago, was I established the Youth and Empowerment Committee. Because again, that was something that was very important to me. And we started doing workshops where we educate the kids about, school, educating them about financial goals and financial things like that, which, if you're going to school and everybody has on the new Jordans and you feel bad about that type of thing. So just educating the people inside of the community, especially, like I said, the kids inside of our community, was a big goal for me. So I became a part of my community and decided to do something about it. So I actively help my city and the kids inside of my city by contributing to that organization and providing them with resources that they need in order to get them their spirits up and to learn that there's different opportunities out here. I bring the entertainment industry to them. We're working on right now putting together an acting workshop for them and letting them know also too the different jobs that are on TV and film. It's not just being an actor. Like I said, there's people that write the script. There's someone that's holding the camera. There's all these different jobs and functions that when I was younger, I did not know about. So my ultimate goal is to just introduce these kids to these other opportunities that they may not know exist. And I do that through my work inside of the community.
I love that. I look at children, the cliche is they are the future, but that they literally are. But they're all little geniuses, and they're the ones that are coming up with amazing things. And to be able to give them those tools to do those things and teach them early on, just how important failing is. It's not a bad word. That's sort of how I grew up. Like failing was it was almost like punishment, but that's how, we learn and grow as humans. So that's amazing that you've got involved in your community at that level, because, we need mentors and people like you that are instilling sort of that positivity, and then also to show the different outlets that are out there. Speaking of which, I saw that you actually are working on started the SheRise University. Can you tell us what that is?
Yes. In my experience, most of the clients that I have are entertainers. They're young entertainers or entertainers that are just starting off. And entertainers or entrepreneurs just starting their small business. And I realized that my retainer of $5,000 a month is not feasible for people that are just starting off and just trying to build their name. So what I did was I created a kind of a DIY situation so that these people can learn how to do it for themselves and at a smaller rate. So on that, I call it SheRise University or SheriseU, because that's what I'm looking to do, is help them rise to new heights and let them build their brand. But I teach them how to use Instagram and social media to present themselves the right way so that they can be in a position to get publicity for themselves. And when you have different projects coming out, I coach them through that in a group setting on how they can get publicity and build their public relations.
Wow. And is that something that they can, if someone's interested in learning more about that, where can they find that?
Yes, you can go to SheRiseUniversity.com. And that's SheRise and then university spelled the right way.com. Or you can always find me on Instagram, send me a DM and I'll be happy to get you that information. And that's at SheRise ENT, SheRiseEnt.
Awesome. Things are changing super fast in the social media world right now and in entertainment. With TikTok, Instagram, now you see every entertainer, DJ, musician wanting to do NFTs. Snoop Dogg is big into NFTs. How have you seen just the landscape of public relations change since you started to where you're at now?
You know what? I think that it's changed. Public relations has changed. Just the industry has changed because things are more DIY now, which is the reason why I started the SheRise University, especially since the pandemic. People are figuring out now that they don't have to wait on things and people for a project to happen. A lot of times I used to try to beg my clients like, hey, stop waiting for your next gig to happen and create your next gig. Stop waiting on to get cast for a TV show, create your own TV show. So I think that the way the industry is changing is now people are realizing that you don't need to be signed to a major label. You don't need to have a big television production company behind you. You can get you and your friends together and you guys can literally create a project that can go make you a millionaire, get you wealthy and start building that generational wealth. And I think that that's the way the climate is going right now. People are realizing that you don't have to wait on anybody. I can do it myself. And I think it's a beautiful thing. People need to starting their own business, stop working for someone else, but figuring out how to create that wealth for themselves. So I think that that's one way that the industry is changing right now.
Yeah, that's I grew up listening to a lot of hip hop. I'm just gonna put and so I just remember like this one line from Wu-Tang's 36 Chambers. Who's your A&R, right? A mountain climber who plays an electric guitar, but he didn't know the meaning of dope, right? It's just funny because it's like there was a reliance on artist reps and everything, and making sure you get signed to the biggest labels, and all of the politics and bureaucracy of that. And now there's this freedom that didn't exist before.
Yes, and people need to take advantage of it. It's sad to me that I still hear people saying that they want to get signed to a label, and it's like, the label only thing that they're going to do is give you the worst loan of your life. And I heard that.
I don't know about you. Law school was pretty bad too, but
definitely. But when you go into law school, that you're acquiring that debt. Again, a lot of people are jumping into the music business without understanding the business side of it. And they think that when they get signed to a label, that everything's going to be A-okay and their life is going to change forever, not realizing that a lot of times you really have to be careful with getting signed to a label, because they may book you or they might sign you to shelve you because you are in direct competition to their person that they just spent millions of dollars to market. So you really have to be very like conscious of that. And that's why I say you got to do your research and you have to look into these things, because it's not always what it seems to be. Doing it by yourself is the best thing going right now. Even the major labels, they don't want you unless you've done it already by yourself and you have something to prove. You've already proved yourself that you have a following already. That's the only way you're going to get publicity now too. You need to prove that you already have a following, and then people are going to buy into it. Then they're going to want to write about it. Nobody wants to be the first one to talk about you unless you're just that amazing. And most of the time, like I said, they don't want to be the first person. They want to figure out if you already have a fan base, they want to be the first one to break you into their circle, but they don't want to be the first one to break you. So you need to already have your fan base already. You need to already have people that are checking for you and they're calling your name. You need to be hot where you are right now. The worst thing that you can do, one of the things that I can't stand, is when someone is like, they're in Florida or somewhere and they're contacting me to be hot in LA. And I'm like, who knows you in Florida? Why are you releasing a whole album and nobody knows who you are in your hometown? So again, building it all on your own is going to be the best thing that you can do, because it's the way that you can control what you have going on, control how your music is going out. Once you sign to a label or you sign to someone else, you give up some of that control. You have to. They're going to ask you to. So starting on your own and doing it by yourself and building up that fan base. So that way, when you do get approached by a major or get approached by someone, you have more leg room to say exactly what you want and how you want that deal to be structured, versus you just going to them hoping that they're going to help you move to the next level. So
that's really important, I think, for anybody out there that's starting a business, let alone artists, but the importance of starting local. And starting with the community that's around you and really building, from those grassroots.
And even in SheRise University, I teach my students, like, when you're looking to get publicity for yourself, start local. Everybody, you want to be inside of, the Wall Street Journal, you want to be in USA Today, you want to be in all of these top-notch publications, but you need to start locally so you can start building a name and building credibility for yourself, so people can actually see that you know what it is that you're talking about. Again, nobody wants to be the first person to bet on you. USA Today is not going to write about you if nobody else has written about you, because you have no track record to say that what you're doing and what you're saying is true. So if you have people locally that are saying that you're amazing and you're an amazing lawyer, Tom, then,
I hope some people are saying that.
Yes. You're going to say, you know what, let me go ahead and check this person out. Maybe this person is doing something. But if you're not getting any publicity or, getting any buzz where you're at, you're going to have a hard time getting it from somewhere else. You need that track record that says that, yes, this person knows what they're talking about, and this person has some stamps of approval for the next big person to want to jump on board with that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Would you say that there's a trait that you can identify, or a characteristic of yours that maybe people don't know after meeting you or on first blush, that really lies beneath the surface, that you wish more people knew or understood about you?
I get nervous too. I would say that that's something that I have to work through. And that's the reason why I really like the one-on-one with my clients, where I can let them know and I can be a little bit more vulnerable with them. Because a lot of people, like you say, you see me going to all these events, or you see me hosting red carpets, and I'm on these things with all these different celebrities, and you think that I'm confident. Like, I just recently did the 30th anniversary for the Pan-African Film Festival, and this is the largest African-American film festival in the United States. It's a big deal. It was their 30th anniversary. Danny Glover is one of the co-founders. Babu is one of the co-founders. These are iconic people in the Black community. And to be a part of such a legacy event, it was nerve-wracking for me. Mm-hmm. But I pushed through and I did it. And it turns out, I'm getting all of these amazing phone calls by the founders, and saying what amazing job I did and how they're looking forward to next year. But I go through those moments too, it's okay as long as you go through them and they don't stop you from going. And a lot of times that can be what happened, even from people that have their own business. They're afraid to go live on social media. You have to get through these type of things, especially when you want your brand to be known by more people. People buy into things that they know, like, and trust. So you have to get over your fears of things and just kind of like push through in order to see the other side to victory. So I do that all the time. I'm not perfect. Sometimes my life looks like it is, but it definitely is not perfect. And I just want people to know that I struggle sometimes, but it's just about how you deal with that struggle, how you deal with adversity when it comes at you. And I like to push through it. So, and I encourage everybody to do the same, push through. There's a other side once you push through.
Yeah, that's really powerful. They've done surveys as to what's something that people are the most afraid of. And they've done surveys as to what it is. What do people fear the most? Do you know what ends up being the number one, on the top of the list that people fear the most?
I would probably say what other people are going to think, or failure, one of those two.
Yeah, I mean, you're very close, but it's public speaking. Getting up and actually public speaking, and it's very closely tied to this idea of rejection and what people are going to think, and just getting up there. Yes. and speaking in front of people. What if they don't like what I say, or what if they don't like me? I think sharks is somewhere there, but it's well below that. But this idea of getting nervous and everything, there's a part of me as a trial lawyer where I have to speak in front of people, where there is a moment where, there's a little bit of fear there, because I want to do a really good job for the person I'm representing, and I don't want to let them down. But you hit on something really important. It's how do you deal with those things, right? How do you deal with that moment of nervousness or that fear? Do you let that voice become louder and louder, or do you find a way to sort of dial it down or to manage it?
Yeah, you know what I find, and I'm pretty sure you can relate to this, but although like I'm nervous while I'm doing my interviews sometimes, like even with this, I was a little nervous getting on here with you. But really even more so when I'm on your side and I'm doing the interviews and asking the questions, especially on the red carpet, on the spot, I get nervous. But I realized, especially after this last event that I just did, that nobody knows you're nervous except for you. I was nervous the whole time that I was doing these interviews with these top people. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like nobody knew except for me. Everybody else loved it. They were like, thank you so much for the interview, and you asked amazing questions, and this is one of the best interviews I had, and I'm getting all this feedback, and at the end I'm looking like, oh my God, are they talking about me? Like, I did that? Like, yes. You just have to, that's why I say you just have to push through, because a lot of the times when we do get nervous about something and then we do it, we're like, it wasn't that bad. Mm-hmm. And then the more that we do it, the better we're going to get. So it's better to just go ahead and do it, at least start doing it, because like I say, the more that you do it, the better that you're going to get. And hopefully you're going to learn something about, okay, well, I didn't like the way I did that. Let me fix it next time. I got to make sure I do it better next time. And all that's going to do is just make you a better person at the end of the day, especially when it comes to public speaking. The more you do it, the better that you're going to get.
Yeah, I love that, because I think that's a recipe for success in life, is just to keep doing these things that you may be afraid of doing, because you're only proving it to the most important person, which is yourself, that you can do it.
Proving it to yourself.
And that's where it counts, right? If you know, and then that's, then you start believing in yourself. I have to admit, when I first started my own firm, there was all this fear about what was going to happen. And anytime you start any new endeavor, I feel like that's there, and you just got to do it, right? And hopefully write it down, like you were saying, right? So you can plan it and see the progress you're making.
Yeah. And like I said, once you put yourself out there and you do it, you realize it's not as bad as you thought it was. Most of the time for me, I think that it's going to be harder than it actually is. I psych myself out and I scare myself more than the actual event itself. Like once you step into it and you do it and you get it done, 9 times out of 10, you realize it wasn't as bad as you thought it was going to be, and you probably did better than you thought you were going to do. So again, when you have those fears, when you have those situations, just push through it and see what that other side looks like. And it's normally going to be better than where you started from.
Yeah, absolutely. In your industry, mine is considered, or has been considered, to be sort of this male dominated industry, and thankfully that's changing. We need it to change, and I'm wondering, just in your industry, have there been times where you felt this is a male dominated industry, or how is it being a woman, breaking into this industry and finding success in it?
For me, the only issue that I had was, like I said, transitioning over from being the model to now being the business side, and finding that balance of going from like the Black men's magazines and stuff where I was half naked in bikinis and, doing those type of styles, to now being covered up and saying like, we need to sign this deal if you want to make this happen. It was a difference on people taking me seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say men, because that's mostly the people that I happened to be working with at the time. So I just felt, and I don't know if it was necessarily them projecting that on me or me just feeling that way because I was in a different space. So for me, I don't really feel like I've ever had a situation where someone was doing something to me because I was a woman. I don't think I've had that feeling before. I guess like maybe if they hit on me and they were, a guy hitting on me, yeah, they're doing it because I'm a woman. But as far as someone trying to stifle me or stop me from doing something because they're like, you're a woman, you can't do this, I've never experienced that. Thank God I've never experienced anything like that. And I hope, I've heard of other people that have experienced things like that, but I don't experience things like that. Maybe because I'm tall like a man, they don't try me. I don't know what it is, but for me, I don't experience things like that. And I let people know that although I am a woman, I'm about my business, and my business has no gender. I'm not a woman or a man when it comes to my business. I'm about my money. I'm green. So I don't move like that. And I think that too, when you demand a level of respect, you get that respect. And when you do business with me and when you talk to me, you have to come at me at a certain way. You have to respect me. And I feel that people know that, so that I really don't get those type of issues.
Yeah. And if you just, give off that vibe, that energy, and demand that respect, generally, or the hope is, and the idea is that that's what you're going to get in return. And like you said earlier, if you're not vibing with somebody, or they're not the type of person you're going to work with or want to work with, because it's a two-way street, then you're not going to compromise your values and the way that you feel about yourself.
Not at all. Because at the end of the day, I have to go home with me. So I have to make sure that I feel comfortable in every situation. And if I don't feel comfortable in a situation, I have no problem with leaving and bowing. Thank you very much. I'm going to call it quits. This is not the space for me. And I have no problem with leaving, no matter who's in the room, no matter what's going on. If I don't feel comfortable, I will leave that situation, be it with a client. I tell my clients all the time, I don't like to work. I do not like to work. When I get a client, it's because I like you. And I feel that it's going to be fun working with you, because I enjoy talking about the things that I love. And if I love your music, if I love your brand, I'm going to enjoy talking about it. When it becomes work and it feels like a struggle for me, where I'm pushing to try to hold on because I'm really not into it anymore, I'm really not feeling it, I feel like I'm not going to give my client the best. So I'll let it go. It's all about me and about making sure that I feel right in that moment, and that when I feel right, I can give my clients the best. If I don't feel right in that moment, or if I don't feel right about that client, it's best for us to separate ways and I can introduce you to someone else that might be a better fit. But I know that I'm not the best fit for everyone. So I have no problem with explaining that to people. And I say what's on my mind. I'm very transparent. It's very hard for me to not say what I think. And if I don't say it, you can read it on my face. So I'm very upfront.
I think you also touched on something important, which is, if you love what you're doing, or find something that you love what you're doing, what you're doing, you're never going to work a day in your life. I know someone said that, but really living that motto, is something that you do. And I think a lot of us, strive for that, that freedom to love it, love what we're doing, be passionate about it. And then at that point, it's not even necessarily, money's important, right? It's important to have a business, as we've all talked about, but to have that integration of doing something you love, and being able to make money it makes it that much more fun.
And I think that when you find something that you love to do and you're in a happy place, and the energy that you're giving off now is one of happiness and one of thankfulness that you're receiving what you're receiving. And that energy will give you more of what you're already getting, because you're in that space, you're in that vortex. So for me, I need to be in that happy place so that I can get more work and I can get more happiness coming to me. If I'm stressed out in a position, working with a client or someone, I'm going to be blocking my blocking energy, and I need to have only positive energy coming towards me. So like I say, if I feel negativity about a situation, about a project, about whatever it is, I'll back away from it, because I know I'm not going to be able to give my best to it. Only can I give my best when I'm feeling my best. So I have to be completely in love with it and feel really good about the situation in the project.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Is there anything or any projects, any events that we should look out for, that you're working on, or any events that you'll be hosting that we should be aware of?
Actually, yes, I'm very excited because one of my clients, her name is Pamela Driscoll. She is going to be on the mid-season premiere of American Gangster Trap Queens, which premieres on BET. So I'm very excited because of that. We're getting ready right now for the premiere party, which is going to be at St. Felix in Hollywood on June 9th. It's going to be a private event with the network and the producers and everything from the show, and some of her cast members, Chantel Green, also some celebrities like Brisha Webb, London Brown, Ted Combs. It's going to be a celebrity-packed, fun-filled night. So that's something that I'm very excited about. Pamela's been my client for over 10 years now. I've been working with her. And to see her story now being able to play out on TV and have other people see what an amazing story, what she's been through, what she's been able to accomplish with everything that she's been through. I think I'm just really, really excited to have people hear about her story. So I'm very excited about the launch of her episode, which is coming out on June 9th on BET. Awesome.
Well, SheRise, it's been a pleasure just getting to know you, talking to you. I've had a great time, and I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us today.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you so much for your production manager and everybody that reached out to me to set this up. Thank you so much. You have a beautiful team, and I appreciate you.
Awesome. Thanks, SheRise.
Thank you so much.
This show has been produced by Market Domination, LLC. To discover how you can have your own show completely done for you and turn it into a real published book and become the authority in your marketplace, go to www.marketdominationllc.com/podcast offer.